Hi, friends. It's Michelle with National Veteran Resources, and I'm so honored today. I have my friend Crystal here with me today. And Crystal is a veteran, and I met Crystal at a meeting in Columbia, South Carolina.
Right.
And then we met up again at Camp for Heroes, and we've become friends ever since. And she's also very instrumental in the Paws and Warriors non-for-profit organization, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, Crystal, I want to thank you so much for being here for me today. So what branch did you serve?
I'm actually still in the U.S. Army.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah,
you are.
Still in, yeah.
How many years?
11 years total.
11 years. I just can't imagine 11 years of your life serving our country, and I just honor you and thank you for that.
Thank you. What Michelle is doing is really important work as well. So what she said, we are dear friends, and really appreciate all of your support too for Paws and Warriors and what you do with National Veteran Resources. So thank you.
Thank you. I don't tell them to say that. I think that's awesome. So Crystal and I, she found out about who I am and what I do, and I asked her if one day she'd like to share her story. Many of our female veterans have reached out to me to share their stories, and she has quite a touching and compelling story. And finally today, she's decided to come and share her story with all of you. And she is making a big difference in this world by coming out today. So from your heart, I tell her just talk about whatever whatever you want to share.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So I think now is the right time to have these kind of discussions because, as Michelle said, that more and more women are stepping forward with their experiences in the military or as a first responder or even our Gold Star families as well, telling their stories and how they're impacted by the traumas that come along with serving our country in those various ways. And the reason why I think now that I'm ready to tell my story is because I also see that with a lot of applicants coming to Paws and Warriors. So it is important for us to have these discussions, and I do feel as a board member of Paws and Warriors that is important for me to tell my story, so that way our applicants also know that we do truly understand what they've been through,
Right.
And when we say we understand, and that they can come to us for support. So I'll start with about 8 years ago. I experienced military sexual trauma. So we call it MST in the military. And I thought I was fine with it. I thought, I can get through this. It's just something that happened, and I'm strong enough to just get through it, and never sought help for what was going on. But throughout my career, I started experience more and more harassment. For example, just deployed overseas in Afghanistan, I worked with Afghan and Jordanian soldiers, and there's only two ways that they look at females in the military. It's you're either a piece of meat or they just despise you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either you're getting just dirty looks either way, whether they and you just constantly feel like, am I going to be attacked today? And it's just this constant feeling of being unsafe and this insecurity constantly that's just looming over your head. So on a day-to-day basis, and you go to sleep feeling that way, and you walk around feeling that way. And when I got home from my deployment, I knew something was off. I was starting to face nightmares. The MST was coming back with nightmares. And I noticed my relationship with my husband was a little bit strained because of it, and I think just a little bit because he just doesn't truly understand the impact that men could. He's very, very helpful though, so I am truly blessed to have my husband. But I did try to seek help once from the VA after the deployment and was essentially dismissed. So I said, you know what, I am strong enough, I can get through this on my own, and I persisted, and I did find a lot of success in my career. Shortly after that, I took a position in the Pentagon, but after that, that continued with just kind of senior harassment, not really harassment, but there's always underlying flirting.
Mm.
And in the back of your mind, you think as a woman, like you have to flirt with those type of those type of men because that's the only way to get along.
Mm.
And you know, the only way to progress and your career and stuff is just to be an amenable person and just kind of flirty and happy and don't and to not, you know, cause a stink about things. So you just deal with the flirtations and whatnot, and you just kind of like brush them off. But after a while, it just started getting, you know, a little bit like it's stuck in the back of your mind. Like, why is this constantly a thing that I have to put up with? And again, though, I just continue. I'm the, you know, happy-go-lucky. I'm just going to keep riding through. I found a lot of success in my career until last year. And I was back on active duty orders last year, and I ended up having another traumatic experience while I was on active duty, and that just set things off for me. Something happened to where I just felt like I broke, or that I was broken. And because of that experience, I was startled by another male soldier inappropriately, and it caused me to go into my first panic attack. And then I felt like, well, wait a minute, I'm this strong, independent woman. Like everybody describes me as like this, you know, very strong woman that just kind of achieves everything she sets out for. And why am I having a panic attack? I didn't even know it was a panic attack. I had to call, you know, my husband, and at the time I was in therapy for the first time outside the VA last year. So I called my therapist, and she explained to me what was going on and calmed me down. And it never stopped. It never stopped. I started reeling. I started having very severely suicidal thoughts. No intention, because of my work with Paws and Warriors and raising awareness for suicide. The intention was never there, but the thoughts wouldn't go away. And I do hear that this is common from our applicants that come to Paws and Warriors, that the thoughts keep arising when, you know, when terrible things keep coming back into your brain. It's your brain's way of just saying, like, you know, it would be easier to just let go. But it's not easier to just let go. That's painful. And so the intention was never there, but it was very confusing for me because I didn't want to commit suicide, but the thoughts were always there.
Is that called ideology?
So, like the ideology is there for suicide, but without intention. Without intention. It's very important, though, to distinguish between an ideology and an intention. And you really need to, when you're talking, especially with National Veteran Resources and all these videos that you're doing, to find out whether or not it's just thoughts or the intentions are there. Because that's when it gets critical, is when the intentions are there. But so I do want to say, though, I never had intentions, but the thoughts were so overwhelming that I started just even behaving in ways that I wouldn't behave. It was so odd for me because I was doing things like pushing away my husband and pushing away my friends and just going into, you know, an introverted behavior and hiding. And then as I'm hiding, the thoughts get worse and the nightmares get worse and paranoia sets in anytime you leave the house that, you know, you're going to be attacked again, or this is just the reality that I face, and it's like a fact that an attack will happen again. And so you're just convinced that something terrible is going to happen all the time. And finally, my husband recognized that I was pushing him away because of something traumatic, and he put aside all of his concerns about himself or our marriage or anything, and he only concentrated on bringing me back. And
your husband's a veteran.
He is.
I would like to share that. Your husband's an incredible man and a veteran, and you know, maybe he'd been going through his own thing, but he was there for you when he finally recognized it.
Yes, absolutely. My husband spent 21 years in combat arms, active duty.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. He has his own demons that he fights, but like Michelle said, he put all of his own, issues aside when he recognized that I was truly struggling. And I have to say, he's been an amazing blessing to me to bring me back to reality. See, I told myself I wouldn't cry, but now I'm crying just talking about my husband.
Because he's there to support her and love her through this. And she's told me some incredible stories of what's been happening over the last year. And I see a smile on her face again because of you.
Yes. So yeah, Jason brought me back, and I mean to reality and physically. I was stationed in South Carolina where my husband was still in Florida, and so he started, driving up to South Carolina to help me out and to help me through my issues. But unfortunately, those issues became very straining on me physically, and by the end of June of last year, I ended up going into numerous episodes of non-sustained VTAC and ended up in the ICU for 6 days and just fighting to be able to get a sense of physical normalcy after that. And then we tried beta blockers while we were in the ICU, and I had a reaction to the beta blockers, and it stopped my heart for 11 seconds. So here I am going from one end of the spectrum of going into VTAC, where my heart's racing uncontrollably, to then another incident where my heart slows down into bradycardia and then ended up stopping. So they did, obviously bring me back from that and continued to monitor me in the ICU until I was stable again. But the crazy part is just a few days after that, I passed a stress test. I got on the treadmill, was able to get up to fast walk into a very slow jog and passed a stress test and was able to get out of the ICU on that. I did continue to have a few more non-sustained VTAC episodes near blackout. I learned to do breathing counts to help me, slow my heart rate back down so I don't pass out. But ended up finding out that my vasovagal nerve is hyperactive now, so now I have vasovagal syncope. So I'll pass out and my heart will pause. It puts me in bradycardia and my heart will pause. So that I just recently had another 2 episodes on January 8th that put me in the ER again. A 3-second pause and then a 5-second pause. But I do have a heart monitor now that, monitors everything that goes on and lets my doctors know that. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want people to also understand that your mental health can be so damaging to you, and the traumas can be so damaging to you that can cause physical ailments like, my heart condition now. And because of that, I'm being early medically retired from the military after 11 years and thinking that I was going to make a career out of it. You also hear a lot of veterans that get injured or something happens and all of a sudden the military is saying you're not fit for duty anymore, and it can be very stressful and straining on a person's just livelihood as well as their mental health, because on top of everything they're going through, now their career is being taken away from them. So that can add on to the stress. And where I'm going with this is that I ended up finding purpose again with Paws and Warriors. I was lucky enough that I was already volunteering before all of this happened. So I did have, essentially like a backup plan. But as I'm going through my medical retirement, I'm on a medical hold status now. Working for Paws and Warriors has given me purpose.
Yeah.
And, through volunteerism, through helping out other veterans, through telling my story to the other veterans. Now I'm the person that goes through all the applications, verifies the application is correct, goes through and makes sure their DD-214 is correct. We run background checks on everybody to make sure, there's no violence or anything in their background that would preclude them from having a dog. But other than that, my point is that I have found purpose again in helping out my fellow veterans and my first responders and my Gold Star families. And so I just want to thank Paws and Warriors and also Michelle for what she does. But my overall point here is, if you're watching this, veterans, first responders, Gold Star families, is you do have purpose in life and you can find purpose again. And The way I found it was through volunteerism. So if that speaks to your soul, please reach out to an organization like National Veteran Resources and
Or Paws and Warriors.
thank you. And find a way to volunteer. Even if you're unsure of what your strengths are, just reach out. Just ask, how can I help? Give me a job, and we'll be happy, to help you find your purpose again. Or if it's with another organization, we do partner with Mission 22 if that speaks to your soul. Then reach out to Mission 22. They're an amazing national resource as well. So we're not just pushing our agendas. I'm just saying find a way to volunteer, or find a way, if volunteerism isn't your purpose, that find something that is your purpose. Reach inside yourself, identify what your strengths are, even identify what your weaknesses are, and maybe do something that helps you challenge your weakness. But you do have purpose, and there is a way to continue in this life past your, wearing your uniform. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. So yesterday I did a story on a veteran that I had in the RV for 4 hours, and he had quite a compelling story, and he has a service dog, but the dog needs a little bit more help to help him with his needs. So I called Crystal right away. I love Paws and Warriors. Yvonne and Crystal are tireless in trying to help our veterans and first responders. And so I picked up the phone and called Crystal right away. She jumped right on it, showed us where we could get the application. So I'm really hoping that you guys can help him. And I talked to him about the same thing. You have to have a purpose. You have to get out of bed each and every day, have something to look forward to, and find your strengths, like she said. And just meeting with you today, I learned so much, each veteran that I talked to. And so you taught me even more today. And I want to thank you for your services, first and foremost. It's because of you that we are free. And I appreciate you.
And your sons. Michelle
My
has
sons.
2 sons in the military.
They're both out now. But one of them is the reason why I do what I do. And I think service dogs are an incredible resource. And so you keep working as hard as you're working. And as I said, she's tireless. And she has a purpose. And having this purpose is helping her in so many ways. And you're inspiring me to keep doing what I'm doing.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay. All right, guys. So Paws and Warriors, how can they contact Paws and Warriors?
So Paws and Warriors, we're online at www.pawsandwarriors.org. We're also on Facebook. Just find us at Paws and Warriors, or Instagram. We recently also updated our LinkedIn account. So we do have a volunteer now working on social media with us and LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out. You can reach out to my personal Facebook as well. I'm Crystal Urban Heller, and that's Crystal with a K. But again, pawsandwarriors.org. I do receive, there's a way to contact us through the website, and that goes directly to my email. Okay. So I do respond to everyone through the website as well, personally.
Okay, great. She's full-time, basically, volunteering her time. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Michelle.
For our heroes. All right, guys, thank you for all the love and support. I'm going to be heading out today to another area, so I'll keep you updated. And I thank you all for your love and support. God bless.